Is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders and closet swing traders? Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Man, we got you guys piling in the house already. All the good mornings up in the chat. Good morning, Al. Good morning, Dan. Babbitt is in the house. Good morning, Bill. Brian Carey's with us. Chad, good morning. Christopher, David H. We got both Davids up in here. I don't know. We got to do a coin toss. Someone's got to change the last name. There's no other way. Eric, good morning. Fayaz, good morning. Franco, Greg is in the house. Good morning. GW, Hilton, good morning. We got Jason, Jay, Jill, JT, Kevin. We got Chuck, Marissa, good morning. Peter, Rick, Ron, Tanya, Tony, Wing. Yes, sir. Yo, Varus, the squad is here. Oh, my peeps at YouTube land. Whew, good morning. We got Ayush, did I say that correct? Kenton, good morning. Jeff, good morning. Local missions in the house. Jeff already starting in with me early. He said, good morning, Dan and everyone. Shop, por favor. All right, we'll get to that. We'll make sure we add that to the list. BEA, beautiful. Hope you guys are feeling good and ready for today. We did have a little bit of a spike pre-market. Spike, call it what you want, but we had a little bit of a run up, I guess. That was on the comments that the Fed has said. We have Bullard come out pretty much. I saw the comments. I mean, they did come across a little bit more bullish than last week when he spoke, saying that we might need a half-point basis hike. David is opting to choose his middle name, but it's also an H. Well, that's no help whatsoever. But A for effort for sure. All right. Yeah, he's basically saying, you know what, he thinks the market might actually be overpricing the fact that we could get a recession. Although he said 2023. He didn't say nothing about like there's no recession. He just said not in 2023, or he said we're probably overpricing that in. So we'll see what they want to say and how it comes across. But there was a couple of the comments all relatively bullish from Bullard. So again, just a back and forth, and it's not even like different members saying. Now it's the same people just saying different things. Depends on the week. Jason said, doesn't bullish from Fed mean more rate hikes? Not quite. Not quite. Yeah, they get commission every time they raise the hikes. It's crazy. It's crazy how that works. Actually, that's not true. Don't write that down. Don't write that down. All right, we have the SPY. So again, we do have that little run up from Bullard this morning, but look where that VPOC is, right? So we have VPOC sitting somewhere right around 400. It's 404 cents. I'm going to call it 400 flat. Also nice psychological number. So we are into a little bit of resistance with this run up. That's going to be my key, right? So that's going to be my key. And then the next one, if we break, and this is also about roughly about 50% of the candle, but I'm looking at that little VPOC over here. That takes me to a level of 401.39. I don't know if I'm ready to buy the dips yet. Maybe if we could get above this 400 and we get a candle or two that hold and close and we can set up some kind of play, then I'm gonna jump back on the buy the dip. But the last since January, roughly, is this even January? Since December 28th, this entire run-up has been just everything was buy the dip. I think we're starting to see a little bit of a break at this point. Does that mean we can't come back up and retest? No, absolutely not. But you see the trend line that's on my chart. This could happen, right? We get back into that, and now we have a little double top, and then we start to break. Potentially, but even with today's little bit of a bounce in the market, this is only a very, very small bounce. We've already established that was, even though this is a green candle, this is still technically, this day closed lower than the previous day closed, right? So this is kind of a misleading retest. We did the Tuesday morning group, and we were like, yeah, this is probably going to act a little bit more like a retest gap as opposed to a gap and go. And then very strong close again and again. It's a small gain at this point. We're not overly jumping like crazy. But if we're at 400 or above at open, then I will probably be looking to buy the dip. So I'm kind of right on the fence for right now. And then I do have targets to the lower side. If we end up coming down, and then I think this is a reasonable target for today, actually, if we do start breaking, probably about 395.34. I think that should give us some sense of maybe some bulls getting or at least that had FOMO on the previous move trying to get in there. So we'll see that. Let's take a look real quick at the Qs. We got the Qs are sitting again. So the Qs are a little bit actually above yesterday's VPOC. Still not even at the 50% range yet. I would love to see another bounce down on this one before we buy the dip. So I would like to see a little bit of a pullback to 294.52. Maybe. It's still a decent amount of selling, decent volume yesterday, nothing too crazy. But now this is roughly 3 days in a row that is selling. Yeah, give me that support before I buy this dip. Give me that support of 294.52. See if we can sell a little bit. We did come down. We ran into this VPOC yesterday. Looks like that's where we held. And then to the lower side of things, we have a couple other levels. So 292.85, 291.25, and 290. So there's a few levels of support, and then maybe we have this as our high, 299.05. I don't know if we get there today. That would be quite the reversal, and almost if we close there, probably almost look a little like a bullish engulfing candle. Attorney Dan says, at what time will you decide if we are bullish or bearish for the day? It's actually a great question. I don't know why I said actually, because it's a great question. You always ask great questions. I'm going to play it by ear. Yep. We're inside. We're inside. So I can't really say for the day until the day closes if this thing is bullish, bearish. Right now we're just inside there, so it's not like we have that extra momentum sentiment, extra people getting trapped. None of that. What I do think though is I'll be flexible today and either buy the dip or sell the rip. If I could get into that 295 and change, whatever I said, 294.03 or a little bit higher. If I could get into there, I'm prepared to buy the dip at that point. If I'm getting a little bit higher, and I probably won't push it to that higher end to start looking to sell the rips. But if I could get into even this VPOC over here, right, that takes me to about 296.33. I'll be either easing up, trying to close out some of those longs, or that if I'm not in anything, that's the spot I'm going to try to look to sell some of those rips. Right. So I'm going to stay flexible. I don't know where this day ends, and it very well might be just an inside day. Right. And if it's inside day, yeah, we probably expect to see some chop. I don't know if do we have the Fed talking today, later today? I don't know if anybody's Rock joined us. Good morning, Rock. I'm not sure if anybody has that, but oh no, the Fed minutes. Yep. So let me re-answer that one for you, Attorney Dan. I'm going to be buying the dips here at 294.40, and I'm going to be looking to sell or close positions at 296.33 on the Qs until 2 p.m. when the Fed minutes come out. The Fed minutes will probably be the one that decides more or less if we're going to run bullish or bearish. So those minutes will be extremely important to the market. Yep. So probably most likely till 2 p.m. we stay inside, unless for some reason that little VPOC breaks, and then that just tells me there's a little bit more fear prior to that. But that will decide, like, okay, well, we're breaking it, so we got to go short. But I'm looking at those key levels. But 2 p.m., yeah, those Fed minutes will definitely affect the market. So just be careful. Either close out all positions into it, or manage your stops, because the 2 p.m. move will be probably pretty intense. All right, we got Shopify. Win has a link. Jeez, dude. Okay, but my link is not working on that one. All right, we got Shopify. I have to, have to be a paying member. Yeah, I don't know what exclusive links you're sending me there, Win. All right, we got Shopify. So again, a little bit of a we're pretty healthy away from that VPOC from yesterday. Here's the problem. So again, trading, there's no such real thing as if you're right or wrong on trading, right? Everything comes down to risk to reward. If you're able to gain more than you're losing, you're going to be sitting pretty in the long term, right? So right now, where we're opening, here's my range as far as where I think the highs could be. Here's my range of I think where probably my lows would be, unless something dramatic happens in the market or we start getting to 2 p.m. Minutes or whatever the case. But right now at open, I'm about a 50-50 shot. So if you want to flip a coin, fantastic if that's your plan. It's not mine though. So I can't really take a trade yet. This is a gap and go though. Still inside day, so I do expect a little bit choppy. I would be asking again. I can't tell the market what to do, but I could definitely ask it. I would ask it to come down a little bit more so I could attempt then to go long. So as close as I could get to wherever that VPOC is, which is somewhere around 41.64, probably a little lower, 41.60. As close as possible to that, that's where I'm going to plant my feet to say, okay, let's go long. Pull back a little bit, at least give me better risk reward. I would think that this is leaning a little bit more bullish than bearish if I had to choose, but get me a little bit further down before I could really get a good risk reward on that trade. Unless it gives me like a phenomenal setup out of the gate, but even that, I think it's going to be a little tough. So I would love to see a pullback on this thing before I pull the trigger, but I think it has a little bit more bullish edge. Just the fact that we're opening at least above where we opened yesterday. Ayush says Costco Intel. It says minutes at 2 p.m. William speaks at 5:30 Eastern. Yeah, as long as there's no Jerome Powell, the minutes will be the heaviest move of the day probably. Costco. So Costco is a retest gap. Retest gap into support. So I would be looking for a fade on this one first. I think we get some kind of sell. I don't know how bullish this thing's going to run out of here. If we were gapping anywhere like 509, 55, something like that, then we have a lot of room up. We're getting into a little bit of a chop zone. If we break this 505.58, my targets, I don't know if we get there. I would be looking then for that 509.24, but we probably get a little bit shy of that. So somewhere in the 508.20 zone. So that would be the spot that I'm like, okay, if we could get a little bit more. Otherwise, I would again. I think this is a buy the dip on Costco, but I would love to see some kind of dip. Just retrace a little bit. If it could get down to 502.24, fantastic. I mean, very possible set a blind order there, see if you get filled, and then try to run it up, because then at least you have some R's already built in before you hit that resistance again. All right, take a look at Intel. Tony Dan says, is Costco a high volume mover? It is more of a staple, right? It's probably not going to be as crazy, but it does have some big moves, right? I don't. This one wasn't on earnings, but this is a wide range at least. This is a relatively wide range, so it does have good range for the day. Volume compared to some other things, some like things in the tech world, probably not as impressive. But yeah, Costco is tradable. Intel. Yeah, it looks like where's the Undertaker theme song? Um yeah, so this is a retest gap. Things got beaten to death, yeah. Unfortunately, I don't think this is the end of the sell-off either. For today, for a day trade, let's see if it can come down a little bit further. Probably a best spot to buy. This is a retest gap, so I do expect it to kind of retest, push up. That might happen at open. But if we can see one candle sell off somewhere in the 25.57 range, and then we rally higher, I would appreciate that. I don't know if that happens. This is a retest gap, so at open you probably would be expecting and leaning a little bit more bullish than bearish. Just playing that retest. You do have a little bit of room, and I'm going to say that with a grain of salt. But you have a little bit of room if we could get to that previous VPOC 26.17, and that's only going to give us really about 36 cents northbound. And even to get to that, we have a couple of the VPOCs we're going to have to pass through, which is probably also going to act as decent resistance. So I don't know how I honestly feel about this fade. It does look like Win said, it looks like the Grim Reaper's at the door for right now. And it's knocking. It is knocking. But the higher it goes, the more I probably would enjoy shorting this one. So I don't really have a lot of room on this one to the bullish side. Even to the bearish side, I mean, we got to be looking for 25.59 is going to be some type of resistance. And then we probably have another level down, 25.39, and maybe one last grain of hope, 25.06, until this thing really starts to look very, very ugly. So good little double top. Almost looks like some kind of bear flag, right? So if this is our entire flagpole, then this entire thing was some kind of a flag, right? And again, maybe eventually we get that first, and then this, I don't know. I mean, this is not a great gap down for it, but it is a retest. So at least I'm not saying go long, but probably don't short this thing at open. Intel cut the dividend completely. Is it completely gone? Because that's not cool. They cut it by 66%, huh? Well, that's definitely not going to make some people happy, including myself, to be honest. All right, we got NVIDIA. I was looking for a spot to add on to Intel. I just didn't like the last 2 quarters. 2 quarters ago, I said I have to wait at least another quarter, see if they improve it all. And then you're going to add the cuts on top. Nah, I'm probably going to stay away from that one for quite some time, to be honest. All right, we got NVIDIA. Again, this is going to give us, I think this is going to be shortable, to be honest. So we're about 50% smack in the middle. So of not quite of yesterday's candle, but of the opening to closing range, at least. The better spot to short is this is probably the trade. I'm going to map out a pre-market trade. I don't know if I'm going to take this one officially yet, but we're going to plan this one out just in case. This is a bearish entry. Okay. And we could probably throw stops. I'm going to throw a stop in at, this is just a rough idea of planning out this trade. Stop. Okay. Darian, what's up, buddy? All right, where's NVIDIA on my list? Let me scroll this one to the top just because I have a semi trade on it at this point. Again, just looking for maybe a little bit of a rally, gets knocked down off that much higher VPOC, and then we have plenty of room to roll down further. All right, we didn't even quite make it to this one yet. That's 204.57. So if we can get a little bit higher, great. But we'll see. Pin interest. Kevin O'Toole says Tesla long above 200. We'll take a look at that one. We got pins let me extend out this line a little bit and try not to move it. At least this was the retest of that downtrends. So we finally got the break. We are still below the 10 on a daily. This is not really a gap up. It's kind of just opening flat, maybe a few pennies higher than the close. And we're still in that range a little bit. This might be one to watch to possibly go long. I want to see us break 24.49, but pins I'm gonna throw up there kind of high on the list too. Again, it's not really a big gap on it, nothing crazy in terms of that, but I do have this extended line from a downtrend. This is a bounce off of it, and we got it was a retest gap, and we did just that. We retested yesterday, but this is the first time we see VPOC moving higher in quite some time. So bounce, good location. VPOC did move higher than what appears to be Friday. My whole week's messed up because we have that day off on Monday, but it looks interesting. Yeah, I can see that one. Let's take a look real quick at Tesla. Tesla, sponsored by the Dogecoin. They don't. I don't know if you guys heard, but they don't accept real U.S. dollars to trade this one anymore. Only Dogecoins. You could buy only. You could only buy the stock with the Dogecoin. Crazy. Tesla. Yeah, it would have to get. So we have a very, very big resistance on this one right at 201.13. So Kevin, 201.13, it would have to break and hold, and I'd be interested. But we are still below the 10 EMA on a daily, and that would be my short spot would be somewhere around that 201 zone. So if we could at all start to break that, great. It's kind of a tight range. There's a lot of different areas of support resistance that we're in now, so it's a little bit more leaning more chop than not. But yeah, if we start breaking that 201, 201.88-ish, somewhere in that range would be a decent attempt to play it long. And then again, on a swing trade basis, not so much day trade. We still have the ability to get to 222.59, but right now, zero wick whatsoever on that close yesterday. Again, we are gapping up slightly. Nothing too crazy impressive, and I'll be watching out and almost looking for a short somewhere around that 262 at this point. And if you do want to go long, Kevin, that's where I would probably shave a couple of shares. Let me see. No, I missed a couple comments. We got Apple, AAPL. Oops, wrong chat. There we go. That was a pretty nasty close. It was a pretty nasty close for Apple, for sure. Still inside this one big candle. That's our saving grace right now. But what we have is a pretty clear looking double top. Even those VPOCs are almost to the penny up there. We are still making downtrends. So again, yeah, I'm a little bit short on this one. Next immediate target would be 146.78. I think if this thing breaks down with that volume that came in, I don't see why 142.80 is out of the question. I don't know if that happens today, but if we do get some negative comments from the Fed minutes, that's probably going to be the target today. We'll see, but let's move Apple up relatively high on this one as well. All the way. Nothing can stop me. I'm all the way up. Overstock. Looks like NVIDIA has earnings today after the market. Well, that's going to be interesting. All right, we got overstock. So this is a pretty decent gap down. This is a retest gap at support. I will be looking to fade this one higher. I'm going to get this one on the list too. We might be able to play this one to a bullish side. There's quite the amount of, Lucia says PM wedge on overstock. Yep, a little bit. Not a lot of volume, but we do have a TTM squeeze on it. We just have to check out what those moving averages are. But yeah, I'd probably be looking for this one highly in a retest gap. But they got a little bit clobbered on earnings. Everything retail is getting clobbered on earnings. Earnings and forecasts are the two killers right now. But we'll see. All right, let's see how much time I got. I got 2 minutes and 39 seconds. Okay, let's see if there's anything else that's moving. Did I miss any other tickers? Apple support pins. Even the good earnings plays are getting killed on guidance, which is normal for markets, right? Because you don't invest in current time. You invest, like, you don't invest because you say the company is supposed to be perfectly priced where it's at. You invest because you're like, okay, I think they're going to do well next couple quarters, next couple of years, and this company will probably continue to grow. So if guidance comes out, like we saw the other day, I forget what company it was, but they're like, yeah, it's probably going to be flat. We probably won't grow at all. That doesn't make investors that excited. All right, so we got NVIDIA. Win, is that one moving? Pan W. We should be able to fit Pan W in. Nothing really on Win. PANW. Okay. Palo Alto. I don't even see any ranges that can stop us from continuing bullish at this point, to be honest. I guess immediate target would be 186.05. And see if we go long around 181.65. But Pan W looks good. Let me see if I could just add this real quick to the list. I got 56 seconds. I should be able to get that done. It'd be essentially us just buying it off of any pullback. Let's go to the top. There we go. Beautiful. All right. Unfortunately, we only got 28 seconds left. For all my friends out in YouTube land, I do appreciate you guys joining us each and every day. Make sure on the way out, you guys hit that little like button, a little thumbs up button. It looks like a suit hand. He's got like a suit collar cuff on that hand, just in case you can't locate which one that is. But you guys are incredible. Also, check out reallifetrading.com. We do have free education online, beginners, intermediate, and advanced courses. I appreciate you guys joining us, and we